Captain Jinho Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable and looked at the stars. His ship was the pride of humanity, the first real warship Earth had ever built. It carried weapons that could fire metal shells at incredible speeds. The humans called them railguns. They were simple but powerful, and they were all that stood between Earth and whatever else lived out there in the darkness. For 30 years, strange machines had appeared in Earth's orbit. They watched and recorded everything. They never spoke. They never attacked. They just watched. The nations of Earth had finally stopped fighting each other and worked together to build ships and weapons. They knew now that they were not alone in the universe. Jinho had been a pilot in the old Korean Air Force before the unification. Now he commanded 300 crew members and the most advanced ship humanity had ever made. But deep down he knew it was not enough. The alien machines that watched Earth were so far ahead in technology that human weapons seemed like toys. The communication system beeped. His second officer looked up with wide eyes. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission." "It is not human." Jinho felt his heart beat faster. "Put it on screen." The main display filled with an image of something that was definitely not human. The creature had 4 arms, skin that looked like dark blue metal and eyes that glowed with a soft yellow light. When it spoke, the words came through a translator device. "I am Ambassador Velnith of the Galactic Coordination Council. We have observed your species for 3 of your decades. The Council has made a decision about your planet." Jinho kept his voice steady. "We are listening. Earth is now a protectorate of the Council. You will follow our laws. You will not develop faster than light travel. You will not build energy weapons beyond your current kinetic systems. You will not expand beyond your home system without permission. If you accept these terms, we will protect you from threats and allow limited trade. If you refuse, we will enforce these terms." The bridge went silent. Jinho looked at his crew. Some looked angry. Some looked afraid. All of them looked to him for an answer. "We need time to discuss this with our governments," Jinho said carefully. "You have 1 Earth week," Velnith replied. Then the transmission ended. Deep below the surface of the moon, Dr. Hannah Park worked in a laboratory that did not officially exist. She wore a white coat covered in oil stains and her eyes were red from lack of sleep. In front of her sat pieces of alien technology recovered from a crashed probe 5 years ago. Most people did not know about the crash. The world governments had kept it secret and given all the pieces to Hannah and her team. They had been taking the alien machine apart ever since, trying to understand how it worked. "Dr. Park, you should see this," her assistant called out. Hannah walked over to the examination table. Her assistant had opened a panel in the alien device and exposed strange crystal circuits inside. "These crystals store energy," her assistant explained, "but they also create a field around them. A protective field. A shield," Hannah whispered. She had read about such things in science fiction, but seeing the real technology was different. "Can we copy it?" "I think so. The principles are complex but not impossible. Give me 6 months." Hannah smiled for the first time in weeks. "You have 3 months. We are going to need this soon." The news about the Council's ultimatum spread across Earth. Some people wanted to accept. They said humanity was not ready to fight advanced aliens. Others wanted to refuse. They said humans would never bow to anyone. Ambassador Taiyang An represented Earth at the first official meeting with the Council. He was a diplomat who had helped unite the nations of Earth. Now he would speak for all of humanity to aliens who thought humans were primitives. The council chamber was enormous. 12 different species sat in a circle, each one stranger than the last. Some had fur, some had scales. Some looked like they were made of living crystal. They all looked at Taeyang as if he were an insect. "Earth accepts protectorate status," Taeyang said. The words tasted bitter in his mouth, but he had been ordered to say them. "We agree to your terms." One of the council members, a tall creature covered in red feathers, laughed. "Wise choice, primitive. Your species shows some intelligence after all." Taeyang smiled politely and said nothing. He had learned long ago that silence was sometimes the best weapon. Let them think humans were weak. Let them think humans were stupid. They would learn the truth soon enough. Back on Earth, Jinho received his new orders. He was to take the Indomitable to a council shipyard for inspection. They wanted to see human weapons and make sure Earth was following the rules. He hated it, but he had no choice. At the shipyard, council engineers swarmed over his ship. They looked at the railguns and laughed. "These are children's toys," one of them said. "They fire metal. Just metal. Our shields stop such things easily. Jinho bit his tongue and stayed quiet. But he noticed something important. The aliens were so confident that they did not hide their own technology. He saw their ships, their weapons, their shield generators. He memorized everything and reported it all to Earth's military command. Velnith met with Jinho before he left. Your ship is acceptable for a protectorate species. You may keep your weapons. They are no threat to anyone important. Thank you, Ambassador, Jinho said. Then he asked a question that had been bothering him. How long has the Council ruled the galaxy? 3,000 of your years, Velnith replied proudly. We maintain order and peace. We prevent chaos. 3,000 years, Jinho repeated. That is a long time. Indeed. And we will rule for 3,000 more. Your species will always be under our guidance. Jinho returned to Earth and immediately went to a secret meeting with military leaders and scientists. Hana was there. So was a woman named Minji Cho who ran Earth's intelligence services. They think we are nothing, Jinho said. They think railguns are toys. They are so confident that they showed me everything. Hana pulled out data files. We have analyzed the crashed probe completely. We understand their shield technology now. We are building our own version. It will be better than theirs. Minji leaned forward. The Council has made a mistake. They have given us time and they have underestimated us. We must use both advantages. An older man at the head of the table nodded. He was the chairman of Earth's Shadow Council, a secret group that really ran things. How long until we are ready? 5 years, Hana said. Maybe less if we push hard. Then we have 5 years to smile and obey while we build weapons they cannot imagine, the chairman said. The Council thinks they rule us. Let them think that. When the time comes, they will learn what humans really are. Jinho looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the Council sat in their comfortable chambers, secure in their power. They had ruled for 3,000 years. They thought they would rule forever. They were wrong. Humanity would make sure of that. 5 years passed since Earth became a protectorate. To the Council, everything seemed normal. Earth followed the rules, paid its taxes, and sent representatives to Council meetings. The human ships stayed in their own solar system. The human weapons remained simple kinetic railguns. Everything was as it should be. But that was only what the Council could see. Commander Minji Cho walked through a facility that did not exist on any map. It was built inside a large asteroid in the outer solar system, far from where Council observers could detect it. Hundreds of engineers and scientists worked here, all sworn to secrecy. This was one of 12 such hidden bases scattered throughout human space. Show me the progress, Minji said to the project leader. Yunwoo Lee was a young engineer with dark circles under his eyes from too many sleepless nights. But his eyes shone with excitement as he led Minji to a testing chamber. We have done it, Commander. Real energy weapons, not kinetic, pure directed energy. Behind a thick protective window, a device that looked like a cannon was mounted on a test stand. Hyunwoo pressed a button and a beam of bright blue light shot out. It hit a target block made of the same material as Council ship armor. The block melted like butter under a hot knife. The Council said humans could never understand energy manipulation, Hyunwoo said with a grin. They said our brains could not handle the mathematics. They were wrong, Minji smiled coldly. How many can you build? We already have 30 ready for installation. We can make more, but we need to be careful. If the Council discovers them too soon, they will not discover anything, Minji promised. Continue production. I want 100 by the end of the year. Elsewhere in the facility, Dr. Yuna Song sat in front of screens filled with complex equations. She was a physicist who had studied the Council's faster-than-light travel system. Like everything else the Council did, they thought it was too advanced for humans to understand. They were wrong about that too. The Council uses brute force, Yuna explained to her research team. They tear open space and jump through. It works, but it is inefficient and uses enormous amounts of energy. I think there is a better way. She brought up a display showing quantum particles. Everything in the universe is connected at the quantum level. If we can manipulate that connection, we can move through space without tearing it. We can tunnel through it. One of her team members looked confused. Is that even possible? 2 years ago I would have said no, Yuna admitted. But I have been studying the Council communication devices. They use quantum entanglement for instant communication. If we can send information instantly across any distance, why can't we send matter? The answer to that question would change everything. On Earth, Ambassador Taeyang An attended another boring Council session. He sat in the section reserved for protectorate species, far from the important discussions. The council members barely noticed he was there. They talked about trade routes and border disputes as if the protected species did not exist. Taeyang used this time well. He listened to everything. He watched how the different council species interacted. He learned their weaknesses, their fears, their rivalries. Information was a weapon, and he was collecting an arsenal. After the meeting, a council member approached him. This was Elder Vormala, one of the oldest beings in the galaxy. Her species looked like walking trees with skin like bark. "Ambassador An, a moment of your time," she said. Taeyang bowed politely. "Of course, Elder." "I have been watching your species," Vormala said. "You seem content with your status." "We understand our place," Taeyang replied carefully. Vormala's eyes, which looked like knots in wood, studied him. "Do you? I am not so sure. I have lived a long time, Ambassador. I have seen many species join the Council as protectorates. Most truly accept their position. But humans, you smile and obey, but I sense something else beneath." Taeyang kept his face neutral. "Perhaps the Elder sees shadows that are not there." "Perhaps," Vormala said. "Or perhaps I see the future." "Be careful, Ambassador. The Council does not react well to deception." After she left, Taeyang sent an encrypted message to Earth. "They are starting to suspect. We need to move faster." Back in space, Admiral Jinho Kim stood on the bridge of a new ship. He was no longer just a captain. Earth's military had promoted him to admiral and given him command of the First Fleet. To the Council, this fleet was just more protectorate ships with railguns. They saw nothing to worry about, but every ship in Jinho's fleet carried secrets. Hidden compartments held energy weapons. Modified engines could produce twice the power they should. Enhanced sensors could detect threats from much farther away. And deep in the computer systems, new software waited for activation. "Admiral, we have a coded transmission from Commander Cho," his communications officer reported. Jinho read the message on his private screen. The hidden facilities were ahead of schedule. The new weapons would be ready sooner than planned. Yuna's research was showing promising results. Everything was coming together. "Send a reply," Jinho ordered. "Tell the commander we are ready when she gives the word." He looked at his crew. They were all volunteers who knew the truth. They knew that one day soon, Earth would stop pretending to be weak. They knew that when that day came, some of them might die. But they also knew that freedom was worth the risk. In her laboratory on the moon, Hana made a breakthrough that would change warfare forever. She had been studying the Council's shield technology for 5 years. She had copied it, improved it, and then done something the Council never thought possible. She had made it adaptive. Traditional shields project a field at a constant frequency, she explained to a visiting general. The Council shields are strong, but they are static. They cannot change quickly. Our shields can analyze incoming weapons and adjust themselves in microseconds. The general watched a demonstration. A test shield absorbed a laser blast, then immediately reconfigured itself to resist a different type of energy weapon. "This is incredible, Dr. Park." "This is just the beginning," Hana said. "If shields can adapt, why can't engines? Why can't weapons? I am working on adaptive systems for everything." She did not tell the general about her most secret project. It was something so radical that even she was not sure it would work. But if it did, it would give humanity an advantage that no one in the galaxy possessed. Minji visited her a week later. "Hana, I need to know if we are ready. Can we fight the Council if we have to?" Hana was quiet for a moment. "Our weapons are better than theirs. Our shields are better, our ships are faster, but they have thousands of vessels and we have less than 100. In a straight fight, numbers win." "Then we need to make sure it is not a straight fight," Minji said. "I agree. That is why I am working on something new, something they will not expect." Hana brought up plans on her computer. "I call it a phase shift drive. It lets a ship move through space in short jumps. Not true faster than light travel, but instant repositioning in combat." Minji studied the plans. "How far can it jump?" "Right now? Maybe a few thousand kilometers. It uses tremendous energy and needs time to recharge. But in a battle, being able to appear behind an enemy ship even for a few seconds." She did not need to finish the sentence. "How long until it is ready for testing?" 6 months. You have 4, Minji said. "The Council is getting suspicious. We cannot maintain the illusion forever. All across human space, people worked in secret. Engineers built weapons. Scientists solved impossible problems. Soldiers trained for a war that might never come or might come tomorrow. And through it all, Earth continued to smile at the Council, to bow and obey, to pretend it was happy being protected. Taeyang attended another Council session. This time the Council discussed military deployments. He learned that most of their fleets were positioned far from Earth, guarding their core systems. They still thought humans were no threat. They still thought 3,000 years of rule made them invincible. After the session, Taeyang sent another message home. They are blind. They cannot see what is right in front of them. When we are ready, they will never know what hit them. In the hidden asteroid base, Hyunwoo installed the first phase shift drive into a test ship. Yuna double-checked all the calculations. Hana supervised the shield integration. Minji watched from the control room, knowing that everything depended on this moment. Beginning test sequence, the pilot announced. The ship powered up. Energy readings spiked. And then, in a flash of light, the ship disappeared from one location and appeared 5,000 kilometers away. It had worked. Humanity had just taken a leap forward that should have taken centuries. Jinho received the news aboard his flagship. He allowed himself a small smile. The Council thought they ruled Earth. They thought humanity would always be their servants. But humans had learned, adapted, and innovated beyond anyone's expectations. The shockwave was coming. The Council just did not know it yet. The emergency session of the Council started without warning. Taeyang received the notification and rushed to the chamber. Something big had happened. He could see it in the way the Council members moved with urgent purpose instead of their usual slow confidence. War Coordinator Thexin stood at the center of the chamber. His species looked like insects that had grown to the size of humans with hard shells and multiple eyes. He was responsible for all Council military operations. 3 of our patrol fleets have gone silent, Thexin announced. All were operating near the outer rim. When we sent recovery teams, they found debris fields. Every ship had been taken apart. Their technology cores were missing. The chamber erupted in shocked sounds from a dozen different species. Taeyang kept his face carefully neutral, but inside he was smiling. Minji had done her job well. Who could do this? One Council member demanded. What pirate faction has such capability? No pirate faction, Thexin replied grimly. The ships were not destroyed in battle. They were surgically disassembled by someone who knew exactly what they were looking for. Someone with advanced cutting tools and perfect knowledge of our ship designs. Elder Vormala turned her wooden eyes toward Taeyang. Ambassador An, where were human ships during these incidents? Taeyang met her gaze calmly. Our ships remain in our home system, as required by our protectorate agreement. We have detailed records if the Council wishes to review them. I am sure you do, Vormala said softly. She did not believe him, but she had no proof. Deep in space, Commander Minji watched the last of the stolen Council technology being loaded onto human transport ships. Her stealth teams had spent 2 years conducting these raids. They wore suits that made them invisible to Council sensors. They used quantum cutters that could slice through any material. And they struck only when Council ships were alone and far from help. Pack everything carefully, Minji ordered. Dr. Park needs these components intact. Her second-in-command approached. Commander, the Council knows something is wrong. Should we stop the operations? No, Minji said firmly. We have what we need. Now we move to the next phase. On the moon, Hana worked frantically as new Council technology arrived daily. Each piece taught her something new. Each secret revealed led to 3 more discoveries. The Council had thousands of years of advancement, but they had grown comfortable. They had stopped innovating. Humans were hungry for knowledge and improvement. Look at this power distribution system, Hana told her team. It is efficient but rigid. We can make it adaptive like our shields, and these sensor arrays use fixed frequencies. We can create ones that shift and adapt to avoid detection. Yuna joined her in the laboratory. I have news. The quantum tunnel theory works. We can move matter through folded space, Hana stared at her. You mean teleportation? Real teleportation? Yes, but the energy requirements are massive. We can move something the size of a small ship, but it will drain every power cell we have, and there is a cooldown period. We could maybe do it once in a battle before the system needs hours to recharge. Once might be enough, Hana said, if we use it at the right moment. The 2 women looked at each other and understood. They were creating weapons that could change the balance of power in the entire galaxy. The responsibility was enormous. The Council will not let us keep this advantage, Yuna said quietly. When they learn what we have done, then we make sure we are ready when they learn, Hana replied. 2 weeks later, the Council made their decision. Enforcer Prime Dalmoth was given command of 30 dreadnoughts and ordered to Earth. His mission was clear: confiscate all illegal human technology and reduce Earth's military to approved levels. The Council had tolerated enough mystery. Dalmoth was from one of the oldest Council species. His people had been warriors for millennia. He had fought in dozens of campaigns against rebellious protectorates. None had ever won against him. He did not expect humans to be different. He sent a transmission to Earth that all human ships could receive. This is Enforcer Prime Dalmoth of the Galactic Coordination Council. You have been found in violation of protectorate agreements. You will surrender your illegal weapons and allow inspection of all facilities. Resistance will be met with force. You have 48 hours to comply. Aboard his flagship, Admiral Jinho received the message. Around him, his command crew waited in silence. This was the moment they had prepared for. Everything came down to what happened next. Send a message to all ships, Jinho ordered. Battle stations. Tell them it is time. Across Earth's first fleet, crews ran to their positions. Hidden compartments opened to reveal energy weapons. Phase shift drives powered up for the first time in combat conditions. Adaptive shields came online, and every captain received the same order: no surrender. On Earth, the world leaders gathered in emergency session. Some wanted to give in to Dalmoth's demands. They feared what the Council could do. But the head of the Shadow Council reminded them of a simple truth. If we surrender now, we will always be slaves, he said. The Council will take everything we have built. They will ensure we never rise again. But if we fight, we have a chance. Dr. Park says our technology is better. Admiral Kim says our crews are ready. Commander Cho says our intelligence is superior. The only question is, do we have the courage to be free? The vote was not unanimous, but the majority chose freedom. Taiyang stood in the council chamber as the news of Earth's refusal arrived. He had expected chaos, but what he saw was worse. The council members looked at the humans with a mixture of shock and anger. No protectorate species had ever refused an Enforcer Prime's order. You have doomed your species, Thexan said. Dalmoth will destroy your fleet and bombard your planet. You could have been servants. Now you will be examples. Taiyang stood tall. Perhaps the council will learn that humans are not as weak as you believed. Formula spoke quietly. I warned you, Ambassador. I told you the council does not forgive deception. And I will tell you something, Elder, Taiyang replied. Humans do not forgive oppression. You had 3,000 years to rule with fairness. Instead, you ruled with arrogance. You never asked why we accepted protectorate status so easily. You never wondered what we were building in the shadows. You assumed we were primitives who would always bow to you. He looked around the chamber at all 12 founding species. In 48 hours, Enforcer Prime Dalmoth will reach Earth. He will find out what humans have become. And whatever happens, the galaxy will never be the same. The council expelled him from the chamber. Taiyang walked out with his head high. He had done his job. He had bought Earth time, gathered intelligence, and kept the council blind until the last possible moment. Now it was up to the warriors. On the lunar base, Hana made final adjustments to the experimental teleporter installed on the UES Shockwave. This is untested in real combat, she warned Hyunwoo, who would be aboard that ship. The power surge might destroy the ship. The quantum tunnel might not form correctly. You could end up scattered across space as individual atoms. Hyunwoo grinned. No pressure then. Dr. Park, if this works, we will change warfare forever. If it fails, at least we will fail while trying something impossible. Isn't that what humans do best? Minji gathered her stealth teams for a final briefing. Dalmoth is bringing 30 dreadnoughts. He expects an easy victory. He remembers humans as the species that accepted protectorate status without a fight. He does not know what we have become. Your job is to make sure his first impression is his last mistake. Her teams dispersed to their invisible strike craft. Each carried quantum torpedoes, weapons so dangerous that one could destroy a capital ship. The council did not know these weapons existed. They were about to learn. Yuna ran simulations of the coming battle on her computers. The numbers were not good. Even with their technological advantages, humans were outnumbered and less experienced. But the simulations did not account for everything. They did not account for human creativity, adaptability, and sheer stubborn refusal to lose. She made one final calculation and smiled. "We have a 37% chance of winning," she told herself. "That is 37% more than the Council thinks we have." As Dalmoth's fleet approached Earth's solar system, he reviewed intelligence reports on human capabilities: railguns, simple kinetic weapons, basic shield technology, limited ships. It would be a short battle. He would be back to Council space in a week with news of another successful enforcement action. But in his decades of service, Dalmoth had never fought an enemy that had spent 5 years studying his tactics, his weapons, and his weaknesses. He had never faced an opponent that had stolen and improved upon Council technology. He had never encountered a species that treated impossible as a challenge rather than a limit. He was about to learn what humanity really meant. And the lesson would cost him everything. Jinho stood on his bridge and watched Dalmoth's fleet appear on sensors. 30 massive dreadnoughts against his smaller force. The old Jinho, the pilot who had first seen alien ships 5 years ago, would have been terrified, but he was not that person anymore. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim," he broadcast to his fleet. "The Council thought we would always be their servants. Today we show them the truth. Today we show them what humans become when you try to cage us." Dalmoth sat on his command throne and watched the human fleet approach. 30 ships against his force. They were smaller than his dreadnoughts. He could see their railgun batteries, primitive weapons that would barely scratch his shields. This would be over quickly. "All ships, prepare to fire," he ordered. "Target their lead vessels. We will destroy their command structure first." The Council dreadnoughts powered up their graviton beam weapons. These beams could twist and crush metal. They had destroyed countless enemy ships over thousands of years. Dalmoth had no doubt they would work again today. The first shots fired. Beams of twisted gravity lanced across space toward the human fleet. Dalmoth expected to see ships crumple and explode. Instead, he saw something impossible. The human ships had shields. Not just any shields, but adaptive shields that shifted and changed to resist the graviton beams. "How?" Dalmoth demanded. "Intelligence said they only had basic shield technology." His tactical officer's voice shook. "Enforcer, they are returning fire." The human ships fired their railguns, but these were not the same weapons the Council had seen before. The metal projectiles moved at speeds that should have been impossible. Some reached 15% of light speed. When they hit Council shields, the impacts created explosions like small nuclear weapons. 2 of Dalmoth's dreadnoughts lost their shields. He ordered them to fall back, but then the second surprise came. Beams of pure blue energy shot from hidden ports on the human ships. Energy weapons. The Protectorate species had energy weapons. The beams cut through the weakened dreadnought shields like they were not there. Hull armor melted. Internal systems exploded. Within seconds, 2 of his ships were drifting wrecks. "Impossible!" Dalmoth roared. "They cannot have this technology. Our laws forbid it." But the evidence was right in front of him. The humans had not just broken the laws. They had surpassed Council technology. Admiral Jinho watched the battle displays with cold focus. "All ships execute Formation Delta. Activate phase shift drives on my mark." The Council had never seen phase shift drives. They did not know human ships could jump short distances through space. When Jinho gave the signal, his entire fleet vanished from their positions and reappeared scattered throughout the Council formation. Dalmoth's tactical advantage disappeared in an instant. His ships were designed to fight in formation, supporting each other. Now human ships appeared behind them, beside them, inside their defensive lines. The Council vessels had to be careful where they fired, or they would hit their own ships. "Reform the line," Dalmoth ordered. But it was too late. The battle had become chaos. Commander Minji watched from her stealth carrier, the UES Phantom. Her ship was completely invisible to Council sensors. She had positioned herself perfectly during the opening moves. Now she gave the order her strike teams had trained for. "Launch all craft. Execute attack pattern Omega." 12 small fighter craft, each one cloaked in silence, separated from the Phantom. They drifted toward the Council formation like ghosts. Each craft carried a quantum torpedo, a weapon the Council did not know existed. The quantum torpedoes worked by temporarily inverting the Higgs field. Matter lost its ability to hold together. It simply came apart at the atomic level. There was no explosion, no fire. Just instant dissolution. The first 3 torpedoes reached their targets. 3 Council dreadnoughts suddenly stopped existing. They did not explode. They did not burn. One moment they were there, The next moment they were clouds of individual atoms floating in space. Dalmoth, second in command, turned to him with eyes wide in terror. "Enforcer, what is that weapon? How do we defend against it?" "I do not know," Dalmoth admitted. For the first time in his long military career, he felt fear. His fleet had gone from 30 ships to 25 in minutes. The humans had weapons he did not understand. Technology he could not counter. And worst of all, they were winning. "All ships, retreat vector," he ordered. "We need to regroup and call for reinforcements." But Admiral Jinho had studied council tactics for 5 years. He knew what a retreat looked like before Dalmoth gave the order. Human ships moved to block the council's escape routes. More phase shift jumps put them exactly where they needed to be. "They are trying to run," Jinho announced to his fleet. "Do not let them. If even one ship escapes to warn the council of our full capabilities, they will come back with everything they have. We end this here and now." The battle intensified. Council ships fired desperately in all directions. Some of their shots hit human vessels. The UES Determination took a direct hit from a graviton beam and lost its rear section. The UES Valiant's adaptive shields failed under sustained fire and the ship was destroyed. But for every human ship that fell, 2 Council dreadnoughts were eliminated. The numbers were shifting. 25 Council ships became 20, then 15. On the lunar base, Dr. Unisong monitored the battle through sensor feeds. She saw the phase shift drives working perfectly. She saw the energy weapons performing beyond expectations. But she also saw that some council ships were adapting. They were learning to predict the phase shift jump patterns. She opened a communication channel to Admiral Jinho. "Admiral, the council is adapting to our tactics. You need something they cannot predict." "The Shockwave?" Jinho asked. "It is ready. Dr. Park says 1 jump. That is all the power reserves can handle. Make it count." Aboard the UES Shockwave, Hyunwoo sat at the engineering station and watched power levels climb. The experimental teleporter was drawing energy from every system on the ship. Lights dimmed. Life support switched to minimum. Even the shields were diverted to feed the hungry device. The ship's captain spoke calmly to her crew. "This is it, 1 jump. We appear behind Dalmoth's flagship and we hit it with everything we have. If the teleporter fails, we die. If it works but we miss our shot, we die. Any questions?" No one spoke. They all knew the stakes. "Engineering, are we ready?" Hyunwoo checked his displays one last time. All the calculations from Dr. Unisong were loaded. All the modifications from Dr. Hana Park were in place. The quantum tunnel was ready to form. "Ready, Captain." "Then let's show these council bastards what real teleportation looks like." Dalmoth was trying to rally his remaining ships. 15 dreadnoughts were still combat capable. If he could form them into a defensive sphere, they could hold out until reinforcements arrived. He had already sent the distress call. Help was coming. He just needed to survive a few more hours. Then something appeared on his sensors that made his blood run cold. 1 human ship, the Shockwave, had disappeared from the battle. Not phase shifted. Not destroyed. Simply gone. His sensors could not find it anywhere. Where did it go? He demanded. The answer came a second later. The Shockwave appeared directly behind his flagship, less than a kilometer away. Not a phase shift that took seconds. Instant teleportation. True teleportation. The human ship was running on emergency power. Half its systems were dark, but its weapons were fully charged. Every railgun, every energy beam, every missile launcher, all of them fired at the same moment at point-blank range, at Dalmoth's unshielded rear section. The Enforcer Prime's flagship was designed to take damage from the front where its armor was thickest. The rear was meant to be protected by the rest of the fleet. No one ever attacked from directly behind at knife-fighting distance. The barrage lasted 3 seconds. When it ended, Dalmoth's flagship was splitting in half. Explosions rippled through every deck. The command section where Dalmoth sat was intact for just a moment. He had time to think one final thought. These humans, what have they become? Then his ship exploded and the most feared enforcer in Council history died, killed by a species he had thought were primitives. The remaining Council ships saw their leader die. Their morale broke. 8 ships tried to flee. Human vessels using their phase shift drives hunted them down. Only 7 Council dreadnoughts surrendered. When the battle ended, Admiral Jinho looked at the casualty reports. He had lost 9 ships and over 2,000 crew members. The cost had been high, but they had won. Against impossible odds, Earth's first fleet had defeated a council enforcement action. "Send a message to Earth," Jinho ordered. "Tell them we are victorious. Tell them we are free." On Earth, celebrations erupted in every city. People who had lived under council rule for 5 years could finally hope for real independence. But in the council chambers, there was only shock and fury. The impossible had happened. A protectorate species had defeated a full enforcer fleet. Worse, the humans had technology that surpassed the council in several areas. Ambassador Taeyang stood before the council and delivered Earth's demands. Humanity will no longer accept protectorate status. We demand a full seat on the council. We demand recognition as equals. We demand technological parity. You demand, Thexan snarled. You have destroyed one fleet. The council has thousands more. We will crush you. You can try, Taeyang said calmly. But now you know what we are capable of, and we have only shown you some of our weapons. We have more secrets, more innovations, more surprises. The question is, can the council afford to fight us? Can you afford to lose more fleets? Can you afford to show the other protectorate species that the council can be beaten? Elder Vormala spoke quietly. The human is right. A war might destroy Earth, but it would also destroy the council's reputation. The council chamber had never been so divided. For 3 days, the 12 founding species argued about what to do with humanity. Half wanted immediate retaliation, half wanted to negotiate. The decision would shape the galaxy's future. War Coordinator Thexan led the hardliners. We cannot allow this insult to stand. If we do not punish Earth severely, every protectorate will rebel. We have ruled for 3,000 years because species fear us. Without that fear, the council is nothing. And if we attack with everything we have, what happens? Elder Vormala challenged. We might win, yes. But at what cost? The humans have already proven they can destroy council fleets. They have weapons we do not understand. Technology we cannot counter easily. A war with Earth would be bloody for both sides. Then we make an example that no one will forget, Thexan insisted. We destroy their planet. We scatter the survivors. We erase their threat completely. Ambassador Taeyang listened from the protectorate section. He knew Earth was preparing for this possibility. Commander Minji had shared the contingency plans with him. If the council chose war, humanity would strike first. Stealth ships were already positioned near council homeworlds. The opening move would not be a defensive battle at Earth, but attacks deep in council space. The galaxy would burn, but Earth would take the council down with them. Elder Vormala seemed to read his thoughts. She looked at Taeyang and spoke directly to him. Ambassador, if we choose war, what will your species do? Taeyang stood. He had been ordered to be diplomatic, but diplomacy had limits. We will fight. We will strike at your homeworlds with weapons you have never seen. We will teach your civilians what it feels like to live under the threat of extinction, and even if you destroy Earth, the memory of what we accomplished will inspire every subjugated species in the galaxy. You will face endless rebellions until your council collapses into civil war. The chamber went silent. Several council members looked shocked that a protectorate representative would speak so boldly. Or, Taeyang continued in a softer voice, you can accept that the galaxy has changed. You can grant Earth a seat at this table. You can recognize that your way of ruling through fear and restriction has reached its end. The choice is yours, the vote was called. By a margin of 7-5, the pragmatists won. Earth would be granted provisional council membership, subject to review in 10 years. Thexan stormed out of the chamber, furious. But Vormala approached Taeyang afterward. You have won today, Ambassador. But be warned. There are many in the council who will never forgive this. They will watch for any excuse to revoke your membership. We will give them no excuse, Taeyang promised. Humanity wants peace, but we will never again accept being treated as inferiors. News of the decision reached Earth to celebration and relief. They had done it. In less than 6 years, humanity had gone from protectorate to council member, from restricted primitives to recognized equals. But the leaders knew the work was just beginning. Dr. Hannah Park stood before a gathering of Earth's top scientists and engineers. The council has agreed to share some of their advanced technology with us as part of the membership agreement. But we will not become dependent on them. We continue our own research. We continue innovating. The moment we stop advancing is the moment we become vulnerable again. Her team had already moved beyond council technology in several areas. The adaptive shields were superior to anything the council used. The phase shift drives were a uniquely human innovation. And the teleporter, despite its current limitations, represented a breakthrough no other species had achieved. "What is our next goal?" one of the engineers asked. Hana smiled. "Stable, efficient teleportation. If we can move ships across light years instantly without massive power requirements, we will control the galaxy's future." Hyunwoo worked on exactly that problem in his laboratory. The Shockwave's teleporter had worked, but it had nearly destroyed the ship in the process. He needed to make the system practical. "The issue is energy containment," he explained to his assistant. "We are trying to fold space-time, which requires enormous power. But what if we do not fold space? What if we step outside of it temporarily?" His assistant looked confused. "Outside of space-time? Is that even possible?" "I do not know. But 6 years ago we thought teleportation was impossible. Now we have done it once. Let's see if we can do the impossible again." Commander Minji consolidated Earth's intelligence network. With Council membership came access to vast databases and communication networks. She used this access to plant listening devices and recruit informants throughout Council space. "The hardliners will not give up," she told her team. "Thexan and his faction will look for ways to undermine us. We need to know what they are planning before they act." Her agents spread across the galaxy. Some posed as traitors, some as diplomats, some as students learning at Council universities. All of them fed information back to Earth. Within a year, Minji knew more about Council military deployments than most Council members did. Admiral Jinho received a promotion to fleet commander and responsibility for all of Earth's military forces. His first act was to expand the fleet. The Council had agreed that Earth could maintain military parity with other member species. Jinho intended to exceed that standard. "We build quietly," he told his officers. "No massive shipyards that the Council can see. We use the hidden facilities that served us so well before. We make ships that look normal on the outside but carry our best weapons inside." Within 2 years, Earth's fleet had grown from 30 ships to over 200. Most looked like standard Council designs. Only a few people knew that each one was more advanced than it appeared. Dr. Yuna Song continued her quantum research. The teleporter was just the beginning. She theorized that if you could move through space instantly, you could also move through time. Not far, just microseconds. But in combat or communication, microseconds mattered. "Imagine receiving a message from the future," she told her research team. "Just a few seconds ahead. You would always know what was coming. You would have an advantage that no one could counter." The mathematics were incredibly complex. The energy requirements were even worse than the teleporter. But Yuna had learned that impossible just meant difficult. Given enough time and resources, humans could solve any problem. 5 years after the Battle of Earth, Ambassador Taiyang hosted the first Galactic Technology Summit. Representatives from every Council species attended, along with delegates from the Protectorate worlds. The summit showcased human innovations available for license: adaptive shield technology, medical advances in regenerative treatment, communication systems based on quantum entanglement, agricultural techniques that could feed billions. The Council species were impressed despite themselves. The humans had gone from restricted protectorate to technological leader in just a few years. Even Thexan, who still hated Earth, had to admit the humans brought value to the Council. But Taeyang saved the best surprise for last. He announced the opening of the first human-built jump gate network. These gates would allow instant travel between connected systems, revolutionizing trade and transport across the galaxy. "We offer this technology freely to all Council members," Taeyang said. "We believe the galaxy prospers when information and people can move without barriers." What he did not mention was that every gate had monitoring systems built in. Earth would know about every ship that used the network. Information was power, and humanity was gathering power quietly. Elder Vormala approached Taeyang after the announcement. "You are making enemies, Ambassador. The other species see how quickly you advance. They fear you will leave them behind." "Then they should advance as well," Taeyang replied. "We are not trying to dominate the galaxy. We are trying to make it better." "Are you?" Vormala asked. "Or are you ensuring that no one can threaten Earth again?" Taeyang smiled. "Can it not be both?" On Earth, a ceremony marked the opening of the Unity Station orbiting Mars. This massive facility would serve as humanity's military and diplomatic headquarters. Representatives from across human space gathered to celebrate. Admiral Jinho stood with Commander Minji and Ambassador Taeyang, watching the celebrations. "We have come far," Jinho said. From railguns to teleporters, from subjects to equals. To more than equals, Minji added. Our intelligence suggests several protectorate species are studying what we did. They want their own freedom. Should we help them? Jinho asked. Taeyang considered the question carefully. We help them learn to help themselves. We share knowledge. We provide moral support, but we do not fight their battles for them. Each species must choose freedom and be willing to pay its price. Dr. Hana Park joined them, bringing startling news. My sensors have detected unusual quantum signatures in deep space, far beyond Council territory. The patterns are unlike anything natural. I think there is another civilization out there. Something that might make the Council look primitive. The four leaders looked at each other. A new challenge. A new unknown. But they were not afraid. Humanity had proven it could face anything. Then we prepare to meet them, Jinho said. As we prepared to meet the Council, with open minds but ready weapons, and with the knowledge that we can adapt to anything, Hana added. The Council thought they ruled the galaxy, Minji said with a slight smile.